Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the Agent Gil Restomod. So this is Gilbert Arenas' shoe, right? I've actually never tried the original shoe, but this is a resto mod, meaning they did kind of like, it's a retro, but they modified it. And it's kind of like a protro, you know what I mean? They gave us boost, obviously. It says Gil Boost right here. If you guys do want to cop, I try to leave an affiliate link in the description box. It normally retails for 150 bucks, but I actually got it for 90 bucks, which is kind of crazy. And I just checked, it's still 90 bucks or some of the colorways. So again, affiliate links in the description box. And also if you guys do want to help support me, all my socials like Instagram, TikTok, it's all in the description box. And if you guys click on the bottom of this video, it says join, you guys can become a member. And some of the perks of becoming a member, I do go live stream once a week now on YouTube Live on Wednesdays at night, right around 9 to 10 p.m. Pacific. So if you guys do become a member, I will be doing a segment on the live where it's members only chat. So if you guys want to talk to me directly and ask me questions about shoes or like whatever, I will be doing that. And also I will be doing meetups, so I'll be advertising meetups and stuff like that, like where we can, like a hoop sesh with me on the members only YouTube place. So yeah, those are kind of like the perks that I came up with. So if you guys do want to help support me, thank you guys so much. If you do, click that join button. But anyways, let's get it started off with the tracciones, and the traction looks really cool, you know what I mean? So we have a series of like herringbone, and then this black part we got some circles and like a wave bone, it's like a wavy herringbone, you know what I mean? It says Adidas here in the forefoot, which is interesting. And also we got circles, we got more circles on the medial side of the shoe, right? So they're calling this the ground control outsole pod system, which I don't really know if it'll help that much, but it is where the ball of your foot is right here. So yeah, I don't really think it'll help that much, it's probably just a gimmick. But the traction right now feels pretty good. I honestly, like, all of this space, empty space right here, could be used for putting more surface area and getting more contact with the actual ground, which will probably be better for grip and traction, right? But it's not that much. But as far as the actual bite on my wood floors go, it feels pretty nice so far. I mean, it does seem to be picking up a good amount of dust. Look at all this hair and stuff, right? So hopefully it does perform well on dusty setting. On a clean court, it feels all right so far. It has a nice little bite, has a nice little squeak to it too. And as far as the durability goes, durability does not seem good at all. This rubber is very soft, especially right here, right in the forefoot. The green part seems a little bit more durable, but this part and also like this part here, like this black part, and in the heel seems like really soft. Like the grooves are thin and the rubber is soft. So probably not the best shoe for outdoor use. And now moving on to the heel to toe transition, I thought since it is an old school shoe, right, I thought it would be like very clunky, very bulky, very stiff, right? But it actually feels pretty nice so far, right? So here in the heel, we have a nice rounded shape. We have the Adidas logo, which is pretty interesting, and it kind of like comes up to cage the foam, right? But overall, it feels pretty nice here in the heel. And then here in the forefoot, we have a pretty curved shape. But what surprised me the most was the forefoot flex, right? So if you look at old school shoes, they're like really stiff. You know what I mean? Very stiff, very boot-like, and also very chunky, very heavy. But look at this, and as you guys can see, we have this plastic plate right here, but it doesn't seem to go all the way here into the forefoot. It just seems like to stay here in the midfoot area. So that's good for torsion support, but we still have good forefoot flex. So overall, heel to toe transition right now feels very nice. Now moving on to the cushioning setup. So that's what they changed up, I believe. It was just adding boost, right? So it says Gil Boost. But you don't see boost anywhere in the shoe, you know what I mean? So I'm guessing with this foam, it's probably just EVA foam because it's actually pretty damn stiff and doesn't say Adiprene or anything on it. And then here it says for motion, right? But we can see the boost if we remove the insole, right? So as far as the insole goes, it says boost on the insole, which is pretty cool. And the insole has like a really interesting money graphic on it. And then underneath the insole, we can see the really stiff strobel board. And the only place where it's kind of soft is in the heel. We can see some holes. And also, we can see, the plastic plate. It looks like it's plastic in the midfoot area as well, which is very weird. And then if you look in the forefoot also, I mean, there's some lines in the forefoot, but there's no holes, right? And if you feel it, it's still pretty damn stiff in the forefoot. But in the heel, It's kind of soft, It reminds me a little bit of the Harden Volume 6, but it's like really in the back of the heel. You know what I mean? So step-in comfort is alright. I mean, step-in comfort isn't nice in the forefoot, but it's alright in the heel, you know what I mean? However, the court feel feels really nice. Like, it feels like a Harden. You know, you're right on top of the ground, especially here in the forefoot. I wouldn't say it's as good as Harden's, but it's like really low to the ground, which is good. So I don't know, like I feel like impact protection will be okay. And it just feels more of like a responsive cushioning setup, right? You know, with good court feel. Probably not the best for impact protection, probably not the best for, you know, compression and bounce and all that. But I feel like, you know, on hard impacts, if it's adequate enough for me, then I feel like this cushioning setup is pretty nice. You know what I mean? So it's not anything crazy. If you've tried on a Harden, this is kind of what it feels like for this cushioning setup. And then moving on to the material, so we got suede in this colorway, right? This feels like a suede. It actually feels pretty nice. 150 bucks. They better be giving us pretty good quality materials, right? So it feels nice. Here in the forefoot, we have some leather cuts as well in the midfoot, right? And this feels also pretty quality too. And if you like old school materials, you'll definitely like this shoe, right? I mean, for me personally, I'm not a huge fan of old school materials just because it takes a long time to break in. It feels a little bit, you know, a little bit more stiff. It feels a little bit more rigid. Obviously, it's better for support, but I'm not very heavy. You know what I mean? So I just need like a pretty thin material. I like minimal feeling materials. They're like overall pretty supportive and it conforms to my foot very well. Then I'm good to go, right? So, I mean, this is still pretty soft and conforms to my foot pretty well. It just feels a little bit more rigid than I would like, which of course isn't that bad. I'm not talking bad about the materials. I'm just saying like, I just prefer like modern materials a little bit more, you know, like mesh. But obviously, once you break it in, it feels really nice. And also it lasts a lot longer, right? And the quality, like I said, is actually pretty damn good for the shoe, right? For the tongue, we have a good amount of padding. It's a pretty large tongue and it says 4Motion right here. And also it is an independent tongue because it is an old school shoe, right? Old school shoes have independent tongues, but the laces go through this lace loop right here, right? So that'll definitely help keep the tongue in place. That's one thing I don't like about independent tongues is that the tongue tends to move around, but because of this, that definitely keeps the tongue in place. Also here in the ankle area, we actually have very minimal padding too. You know, here in the Achilles, like in the back of the shoe, there's a good amount of padding, but we're on the sides, I would say it's just like around average for the padding. So overall, I mean, like there's not a whole lot of padding, so it's not super cozy, I guess, besides on top of your foot from the tongue. But you know, it does feel very supportive, you know, and honestly, it's not something like I hate right now. It just feels a little bit thicker and a little bit more rigid than I would like personally, but I feel like most people wouldn't mind. It's not pinching my foot or anything, so there is the materials there. Moving on to the fit, I went true to size and fits me overall very well. So for length, there is a little bit of length though. You know, if I went down half a size though, I feel like it'll be a little too tight for length for me at least. So for most people, I would suggest going true to size for length. And then here in the toe box, it's not super snug, but also not super roomy, right? So it's just like, it's pretty good for me so far. And then as far as the width goes, I would say it's around normal width to slightly narrow. So I do like the overall fit for me so far. If you want a roomier fit or you have a wide foot, probably just go up half a size and you should be good to go. And it's just so weird. You guys remember, like, I'm just so used to like having really high heel tabs. You know what I mean? Because, you know, it's so easy to put on shoes nowadays, but this is just like old school. You know, there's really no heel tab or anything. It's kind of weird to put on, you know what I mean? Just something that I noticed, you know, nothing to do with performance really at all. Moving on to support and lockdown, obviously, for lateral containment, it's probably going to be good to go, right? There's really no lateral counters, but I guess you don't really need it with these crazy thick and supportive materials, right? Especially here in the forefoot. Here in the midfoot, we have this leather piece right here, right, to stiffen up the material a lot. And then here in the heel, we have the foam coming up acting as a sidewall, and there's an internal TPU heel counter. So lateral containment feels like it's gonna be good. And for lateral stability, however, I mean, there's nothing crazy as far as an outrigger goes, but it does protrude out a little bit, just a little bit right here. So lateral stability feels like it's gonna be good as well. Now moving on to the weight, there's something that I'm very interested in. It doesn't feel super heavy, but I'm guessing like 13-14 ounces maybe. Yeah, so 13.83 ounces. Let's check the other pair. 13.76 ounces. So yeah, it's pretty heavy. You know, it's an ounce and a half to an ounce heavier than average weight. The average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So yeah, this shoe feels a little heavy. It feels a little, not super bulky, but just like a little stiff just because of the material, you know what I mean? But I feel like it'll break in nicely. Hopefully the traction is good. If the traction is top tier, I'll probably like this shoe overall a little bit more. But if it's not, I don't think I'll like it that much, right? And then moving on to the aesthetics, I actually really like it. This old school look with this colorway, this gray color with the green lining. And then like, I'm not a huge fan of like the, what is this? Tiger stripes on the midsole, right? But overall, it's a pretty good looking shoe. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, I do like Restomod. You know, I guess I am liking Restomod so far that Adidas is giving us. They're pretty much only changing up the cushioning setup. I'm not really 100% sure what they're doing with anything else, but I do like the addition of boost and it's feeling pretty good so far. So anyways, that about concludes my first impressions look. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave a free link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one.